I want to talk to the women who are still figuring it out, even after decades of living. Even at 62, and let me tell you something, you don't outgrow uncertainty. You don't outgrow disappointment. You don't outgrow that quiet question in the back of your mind that says, did I make the right choice? Here goes. Recently, I had one of those moments. There was an event I wanted to attend, TV Fest in Atlanta. People I respect were going to be there. People doing work I admire. People in rooms I would love to be in, and I didn't go. And here's the part that's hard to admit. I could have paid for it myself. I told myself I was broke. I was struggling. I wanted my department to pay for it. Wasn't in the budget. And maybe I was being responsible, or maybe I was being cautious, or maybe, if I'm really honest, I was afraid to invest in myself in that way. I do have TV projects to sell. But anyway, later I sat with the decision, not in regret, but in reflection, because that's what grown women do. We don't just move on, we look back and we ask ourselves these hard questions. Did I honor my priorities? Did I protect my peace? Or did I shrink when it was time to step forward? Anyway, at the same time, I was waiting to hear about an audition that I did as an actor, a role I really wanted, work I felt good about, work I was proud of. And the answer came back the way it so often does in the business, no. Or sometimes not even a no, just silence. Now listen, when you've lived long enough, you learn that rejection isn't rare, especially if you're an actor, a writer, a professor, a creative person like myself trying to build something meaningful in the world. You hear no so often, it almost becomes a background noise. But that doesn't mean it doesn't sting. It does sting, not because you doubt your ability, but because you're human. And here's what I realized sitting with all of this. Sometimes the hardest thing isn't the rejection. Sometimes the hardest thing is the second guessing that comes afterwards. That quiet voice that starts whispering, maybe you should have gone. Maybe you should have spent the money. Maybe you're not doing enough. Maybe you're missing your moment. Second guessing will drain you faster than rejection ever will. Because rejection happens once. Second guessing happens over and over and over again. And somewhere in the middle of all this thinking, I had another realization. Maybe the problem isn't that I'm not being invited. Maybe the problem is that I've been waiting for invitations, waiting to be welcomed, waiting to be acknowledged, waiting to be told I belong. And I had to ask myself, how long are you going to wait? How long are you going to stand outside the room hoping someone opens the door when you have everything you need to build your own room, Sandra? That's when the thought hit me clear as day. Stop waiting to be invited. Throw your own party. Not literally, although you could do that too, but metaphorically. Create your own opportunities, create your own platforms, create spaces where your work is seen, valued, and respected. Because here's the truth nobody tells you when you're young. There will always be rooms you don't get into. There will always be doors that don't open. There will always be people who don't recognize what you bring. That doesn't mean you're not worthy. That doesn't mean you're not capable. That doesn't mean your work doesn't matter. It means those spaces weren't yours. And maybe, just maybe, your assignment is not to get into their room, but to build your own. Now, let me tell you what gave me peace this week. Not applause, not recognition, not bookings. Peace came in the quiet moments. Sitting on the couch watching television with my daughter, taking a nap in the middle of the day without guilt, drinking my water with electrolytes, eating my vegetables, checking in on people I love. Small things, unremarkable things, but deeply sustaining things. And that's when another truth settled into my bones. Peace isn't loud. Peace doesn't announce itself. Peace lives in the ordinary choices we make every day. And the older I get, the more I realize that chasing validation costs more energy than most of us can afford. Worrying about who doesn't like you, who didn't invite you, who didn't recognize your work, that costs energy. Energy you could spend building something meaningful. Energy you could spend loving the people right in front of you. Energy you could spend taking care of your body. Because let me tell you something, at 62, your body sends memos. Your knees have opinions. Your heart has commentary. Your neck reminds you when you're done too much. And you learn sometimes the hard way that you can't afford to waste your energy. No, chasing people who aren't chasing you. You also learn something else. Breaking promises to yourself doesn't always mean that you're weak. Sometimes it means you're still growing, still learning to trust yourself, still learning to honor your own voice. Because the truth is, we break promises to ourselves when we're still children spiritually, still looking for affirmation, still hoping someone else tells us we're enough. And here's what I'm learning now: you don't need everybody's affirmation. You are capable, you are able, you are responsible for making your own way. And here's another truth, one that took me years to understand. The people over there, the ones in the rooms you're trying to get into, they are not automatically happier than you. They're not more fulfilled. They're not more secure. They're not more at peace. Everybody's carrying something. Everybody's figuring it out as they go. And sometimes we chase spaces and opportunities thinking they will guarantee something, whether it's money, success, validation, happiness, but nothing guarantees anything. Not money, not fame, not recognition. What matters is alignment, living in a way that matches your values, making choices you can live with, standing in your decisions even when they cost you something, because every choice costs something. Going to the event costs money. Staying home costs opportunity. Submitting my work costs vulnerability. Holding back costs growth. There is no cost-free life. But here's what cost me the most clarity this week: second guessing myself, not trusting my original decision, not standing fully inside the choice I made. That's where confusion begins, not in the decision, but in the doubt that follows it. So here's what I'm practicing now: trusting my choices, learning from them, adjusting when necessary, but not punishing myself for being human. And maybe that's the message I want to leave with you. You don't have to chase every opportunity. You don't have to attend every event. You don't have to submit to every space. Sometimes wisdom looks like restraint. Sometimes courage looks like staying home. Sometimes power looks like saying, not this time. And when the right opportunity comes, you'll recognize it. Not because it's flashy, but because it aligns. So, to the women watching this, the ones still questioning themselves, the ones still wondering if they're doing enough, still worrying about who didn't invite them, hear me clearly. Stop waiting to be invited. Throw your own party, create the work, build the platform, honor your voice, trust your timing. And when you feel the urge to panic, to fix everything, to chase every opportunity, sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is this: go home. Put your feet up, drink your water, take a nap, not because you're lazy, but because you're wise enough to protect your peace. Take your blessings, learn what you can, shake off the rest, and keep stepping.